Let's review possessive and demonstrative adjectives. The important thing, and the thing that made the biggest difference to me, is to remember to start with the noun. The noun is like the sun. The articles and adjectives all revolve around the noun. If you remember this, it's going to be a lot easier. The noun governs the gender and number of all articles and adjectives. When it comes to possessive adjectives, Spanish is the opposite of English. In English, we focus on the person who possesses the object or relates to another person. In Spanish, we focus on the noun that is being possessed or related to. I sent you this page as a one-page document, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time reviewing it. The only highlight I want to make is to note that all of the adjectives have both a singular, for example, me, and a plural, mis form, with the exception of nosotros, the one that matches our, and it has four forms. It has a singular masculine, nuestro, singular female, nuestra, plural masculine, nuestros, and plural female, nuestras. It's going to make more sense as we practice. Now, in this slide, our focus is on the possessive and later in the presentation, demonstrative adjectives. But just so you know, we're also going to be reviewing vocabulary from mods 2 and 3. And to make it easier on you, verbs are in red. If you forget a vocabulary word or a verb, don't worry about it, just skip it. And I'm going to be providing you hints as to the verbs. I'm going to do the first one for you. My son lives in Switzerland. What is the verb? Vivir. My son, hijo, is singular. Mi hijo vive en Suiza. Okay, I'm going to let you do the next one. My sons work in Canada. Take a moment to remember the word for work, trabajar. And now sons is plural, so you're also going to have to make the adjective plural. Mis hijos trabajan en Canadá. Is your granddaughter traveling to Mexico? And I want you to use the familiar or the to form. Do you remember the verb for traveling? Viajar. So focus on granddaughter. And again, this is singular. Tu nieta viaja a México. Your nephews visit Argentina. And again, I want you to use the familiar or the to form. Do you remember the verb for visit? Visitar. And note again, nephews is plural, so the possessive adjective also has to be plural. Tus sobrinos visitan Argentina. Your aunt prepares, or you could say makes, lunch. And now I want you to use the formal side of your, which would be su. And the word for prepare is preparar. Su tía prepara el almuerzo. Do your uncles practice or play soccer? And again, we're going to use the formal pronoun. And the verb for practice is practicar. Sus tíos practican fútbol would be the answer. Now I'm going to go ahead and move forward and let you practice the rest of this on your own, but I want to switch to the demonstrative adjectives. And again, I sent you these as part of your notes, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them, but again, notice that there's singular and plural, masculine and feminine. So this has both masculine and feminine, este, esta, or plural, estos, estas. There are two ways to say that or those in Spanish. We can say that as in ese or esa, or those, esos, esas. But if something is further away from us, we want to indicate that by using aquel or aquella, or for the plural, aquellos and aquellas. Now there is a neuter form of each demonstrative adjective, esto, eso, and aquello. Now we don't use these as often because, as we remember, all the nouns have gender. So the only time you're going to be using this is when you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're in a market and you see a strange fruit, you hold it in your hand and ask somebody, ¿Qué es esto? What is this thing that I don't even know the gender of? All right, let's go ahead and practice a little bit. First of all, a mnemonic. This and these have the T's. By that I mean the words este, esta, estos, and estas all have the letter T in it, as opposed to ese, esos, etc. that do not contain the letter T. The first slide is that dog drinks a lot of water. Do you remember the word for drink? There are actually two, beber or tomar. Let's use beber. Now, that is neither this nor these, so it's not going to have a T. Ese perro bebe or toma mucha agua. This mother needs help. And the verb for needs, necesitar. Now this is going to have a T because this and these have the T's. Esta madre necesita ayuda. Are those kids over there studying? Do you remember the verb for to study? Estudiar. And we know we're talking about the kids over there, so it's going to be the form with aquel, aquella, aquellos, aquellas. Aquellos niños or chicos estudian. And that's a question many parents ask. I need this pen. The verb for to need, again, is necesitar. Go ahead and take a moment. Necesito este bolígrafo or esta pluma. Now notice the word pluma is used more often in Mexico, but you're also going to see bolígrafo. Because bolígrafo is masculine, we have to use este. Pluma is feminine, so we use esta. My half-sister sells that house. Do you remember the word for sells? Vender means to sell. And half is media. So go ahead and finish the sentence. Mi media hermana vende esa casa? Is that pencil over there, Ana's? Now here is something that we may not have covered yet in class or in your studies. We're going to be using the verb ser to show possession. Aquel lápiz es de Ana. And that's the way we do possessives. In Spanish, there is no apostrophe S. We have to use a verb like ser and the preposition de and then the name of the person doing the possession. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I'm going to send you the full slide presentation so you can do all of the exercises on your own. Thank you for listening.